Hi, I'm Andrea Brunet with Outreach and International Affairs. We're here at Virginia Tech's Richmond Center with Director Melissa Lubin. Melissa works with a lot of companies teaching them about Myers-Briggs personality typing. This is something that might help you understand yourself better and the personalities of the people you work with. Does it help people not get on each other's nerves?
It really does. One of the aspects of Myers-Briggs is that you learn what your strengths are and also where the opportunities that you as an individual have. And some people might see these as hot buttons, and so one of the things that I work with individuals on in a team building session is identifying what those hot buttons are and how you can not push those in others, and also how you can learn how to become less irritated when you're in a situation that challenges you. So there's ways that you can get around that.
So sometimes you might be irritated by a coworker or someone in a meeting, but if you understand that's just kind of the way they think, it helps you not take it personally. Is that right?
Absolutely, yes, that's exactly it. One of the things that Myers-Briggs can show you is that we all are different, we all are unique, and that where you might be making an assumption that there's a conflict or they're going against you, when really they're just perceiving the information in a different way, and they're using a different set of logic to make that decision. So by understanding more of where they're coming from, you're actually able to have more of a meeting of the minds. The Myers-Briggs type indicator helps you determine what your personality type is or preferences that you have.
What's an example of one of those hot buttons?
Wow, let's see. I would say a good hot button is someone that maybe is intuitive, that really likes to see the big picture, likes to hear really the bottom line, very abstract information, and someone comes into them with pages and pages of details and starts talking about it line by line, where the person that has an intuitive perception really wants to get that information just cut to the chase, where the person that has the sensing preference, that's the one delivering the information, really wants to give all the details that give the foundation to that base. So oftentimes conflicts can arise because the one giving the information is doing it in a way that is not a preference for the one receiving the information.
How easy is it for a person to figure out what Myers-Briggs type they are?
Well, to take the actual MBTI, it is a copyrighted material, and you fill out a form. There's about 100 questions, and then someone that's qualified can score it. So that's pretty straightforward. There's a cost to that, but there are a lot of free sites out there where someone can access the information, take a similar kind of questionnaire, and find out immediately online what their type is. One of my favorite sites is the humanmetrics.com site. It's free, so you just log on. After you answer the questions, you just click on Score It, and it will tell you exactly what your type is. So then you can do further research on your own to learn more about your type and those of the people that you work with. Okay, what you're looking at now are the 16 different types that you are categorized in once you take the MBTI assessment. So for instance, if you look down in the bottom right hand corner, that is ENTJ, Life's Natural Leaders. And what the ENTJ is all about is, first, the E stands for extrovert, that this individual prefers to get their energy from a very active, people-oriented environment. So the next letter is N for intuitive. And what this is referring to is how people prefer to receive their information. And someone that is intuitive has that preference, really likes to take in the big picture and really get to the bottom line and not have too many details up front. Then you have the thinking preference, and this is all about what we use to make our decisions. For someone in this case that has an ENTJ preference, that has that thinker preference, they are using logic, black and white, pros and cons, and are very concerned about the logic and the objectivity of the situation, not as much about the subjectivity or the people when they make the decisions. And then the last letter is the J for judging, and this is how the individual likes to orient themselves and organize themselves. Judges are ones that really like to make out lists and really like to check them off, so they like closure and like to make decisions. So when you put the ENTJ together, you do get Life's Natural Leaders. Everything you see on my desk right now is related to the Myers-Briggs type instrument.
So after you've done this workshop for a company, what do they come back and tell you has improved at their organization?
Well, one of the first things is self-awareness. I mean, obviously, it's really helpful when individuals really learn about themselves and understand what makes them tick and what doesn't. And so first, just getting to know yourself better and how you can really leverage your strengths. That's always the first thing I hear that's positive from an employer. The second thing is the communication and the interactivity. By learning how to understand people better and where they're coming from so that it's not about you, it's really about them, and so that you can modify your behavior so you both can work together better.
So what type are you?
I am an ENFP, so I do like the big picture. I'm very much an extrovert, and I'm a feeler, meaning that when I make decisions, I prefer to use peoples and exceptions in the process over really some of those more logical situations such as pros and cons. One of the things I will say, though, about all preferences is that we're all within a range. So even though I am a feeler, in the moment, because of my position, because I am a leader within my organization, I oftentimes have to make decisions based on more of a thinking preference. So one of the challenges that we have in the Myers-Briggs is learning how to activate our least preferred style, because in the moment or in the situation that you're in, you might need to access that more than your natural preference. One of the things to remember with the MBTI is that once you learn what your preferences are, you need to remember that that's never an excuse for behavior. For instance, if you are someone that is a very clear introvert, that means that you're going to have a preference for being by yourself or working on individual projects and not having a lot of activity. And if you are a manager where you have several people reporting to you, you're going to be challenged by constantly stepping outside of your comfort zone and wearing more of an extrovert hat in this managerial role.
Is there a personality type within the 16 that you kind of come at loggerheads with?
Well, my direct opposite really from the ENFP is the ISTJ, and so that's someone that's introverted, really is very detail-oriented, is a clear thinker, so very logic and black and white, and is a judger, likes to make decisions and move on quickly. So what I have found in my experience is instead of looking at that as a conflict, I really look at that as my better half. That's another way, someone that I can learn from, they can learn from me as well. So together we actually make a complete picture. So working together, I can actually learn and leverage some of those strengths and preferences that individual has, and they can do the same with me too. So it takes some time to really develop that within yourself, but once you understand again where someone is working or coming from, you can then begin to work together a little better.
So if people go online and determine their personality type, do you mind if they send you email and ask you questions?
Absolutely, send along. I have lots of resources in it. It's something I'm really passionate about, and I've learned so much in my experiences with working with different organizations and all of the 16 types that I would love the opportunity to work with someone directly and helping them better understand it.
What's your email address?
It's mmlubin, Lubin, at vt.edu.
I'm getting the impression that you like your job.
I love it. I love it. My type is perfectly suited for this position. So it's a fun thing to do. I'm really passionate about, again, developing people, and the MBTI is a great place to start.